So my first story is we recently got new news on Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. So we've gotten some updates. They had their fan fest, the Tokyo Fan Fest, not that long ago. One of the biggest things that they added was the second class. So earlier we knew that one of the classes was going to be the Viper. They are a dual sword wielding class, but now we got the Pictomancer, which a lot of people were guessing. A lot of people were calling it the Green Mage because that is the official designation of one of the characters' realm. Final Fantasy VI, she is a Pictomancer. She was called a Green Mage, so a lot of people were expecting it to be called Green Mage, but no, it's going to be called a Pictomancer. You harness the power of painting. So they have a video. You can go ahead and watch it online. What it does is mostly she just carries a big brush and splashes paint everywhere, but occasionally you can paint a monster and that monster will use its attack. So, for example, they show a Moogle that she paints a Moogle. The Moogle pops out and shoots this star beam or whatever. So there's that. We also are getting the final race for the game. It's going to be the female Hrothgar. The Hrothgar are a race of large cat people. They have two cat people races. One of them's a small, kind of your stereotypical anime cat girl species, mostly human with cat ears and a tail. These people are more of big. They have a cat head and they're covered in fur. So we had a male Hrothgar, and now we're getting the female Hrothgar. And supposedly that's going to be the last race they're going to add because, as I said, it actually gets really difficult the more races you add because depending on the race's size and body shape, you have to basically recreate all the armor for that species as well, which is a pain not only because now you have to, instead of if I created a set of armor, I have to create a set for 5 species. Now I have to create a set for say 9 species or 7 species or however, but you have to go back and reformat all the armor that you've had up to this point in the game. So every time they add a new race, it's not even just that going forward they have to consider this, but they have to go back and redo everything from the beginning. And because of that, they said they're probably just not going to be adding any more races simply for that reason. We are also getting the Beastmaster limited job. The limited job in Final Fantasy XIV is similar to the Blue Mage. That's another limited job. So we'll have 2 now. Limited jobs, basically, they don't go up to the max level. So the new max level, I believe, is 90. It will not go up to 90. It'll probably go up to maybe 50, 60, maybe 70, somewhere around there. And limited jobs are also limited in the fact that they cannot enter dungeons or do content normally in the same way that other classes can because they're not designed to work in that way the same way other classes work. So, for example, with the Blue Mage, you go out, you fight a monster. If a monster uses a certain spell, then you can learn that spell from the monster. And the reason that they are limited is because they just become far too powerful because they can if you want to use tanky spells, you can use tanky. They have access to way more spells than any other class or way more abilities than any other class. So, for example, if you were doing the new Beastmaster, you could basically cover any class. You could get a healing pet, you could get a tanking pet, you could get a DPS pet or a stealth pet or whatever kind of pet you want. And because of that, it just makes it makes certain content way too easy because you're way more powerful. You have way more options than a regular class would have. But we are getting it as a limited job, so if you want to be Beastmaster, that's great. And we also got that the Xbox Open Beta will start on February 21st. Hopefully, it might be pushed back a couple days or pushed up a couple days, but it looks like we're getting it on February 21st, which is a little bit later than they had originally planned for. They had planned for January this year. But yeah, so if you're on Xbox and you want to play Final Fantasy 14, Open Beta on February 21st and knock yourself out. Pretty sure it's free.